So, the UK are going to end the EV grant. But don't worry, something is coming to replace it. So today, we're going to talk about the UK government's new EV scheme and how Tesla look like they're already involved in it. Maybe Elon really was having those secret meetings everyone was speculating about. Let's just jump right into this. First of all, guys, head down to the like button, smash the life out of it. Let's try and get 100 likes again. Thank you so much on the last video. And we're trying to raise to 1,000 subscribers. We're actually closing in very quickly. I can't believe it. You guys are the best. And one last shout out is for Andrew. Again, this is what we do this channel for. So thank you so much to Andrew. Andrew just used a referral link to purchase a Tesla. And thank you so much. It's the only reason I do this channel. I want to try and be a part of this Tesla movement, and help people move over to sustainable energy cars and electric vehicles. So thank you so much, Andrew. Anyone else wants to use the referral link? It's down below. You get 1,000 free supercharging miles. Also, guys, point noted about the screen in the background. Some of you guys don't like it when it's me in the background playing, so I'm going to stop putting videos of me in the background. I'm going to try and keep it just based on Tesla videos now. Okay, so currently in the UK, you will receive £3,000 in the way of an EV grant towards an electric car. Now, there are rules around this. To qualify for the grant, your car must be able to travel over 70 miles on electric alone. So hybrids are covered, but no hybrid in the UK can travel 70 miles on its own, so it's just solely electric vehicles as it stands. And now recently, the government have said they're going to scrap this scheme. So we personally benefited from this grant ourselves when we purchased our Model 3. So all the cars that meet the criteria on Tesla.com already have the price applied online. So if we didn't receive the grant, they would actually be £3,000 more expensive on the website. So that's something to bear in mind. You don't deduct another £3,000. It's already been applied. And just at the time we purchased our Model 3, the grant was actually £3,500. They've reduced it another £500 just recently. So they are making it less and less. So I get what you're saying. Okay, Jordan, so all doom and gloom so far. Where's the silver lining on this? What's happening? Well, let me tell you. In fact, it's not worse. It's actually better. A lot better. Hopefully, it's a lot better. At the moment, there's been a few officials who have denied that this program's going to be happening, but there seems to be a lot more evidence suggesting that this is going to be happening. The whole idea of this is to stimulate growth and stimulate the economy within the UK by making people purchase more cars and spend more money, and increase the incentive of also going electric and green. But like I say, I saw something on Tesla.com, and I think that points towards the fact that Tesla have been meeting with the government, and also that the program will be happening. Now, full disclosure, everything that I am saying is speculative with the information that I have. A lot of this information will be confirmed on July the 6th, which is supposedly when they're supposed to be releasing this. So that's fantastic to know. But we do have great evidence that this will happen. And Elon, in fact, was talking to government officials in the UK recently, and that Tesla knows something that we don't know. And now I'm going to disclose that as well with you guys in this video. This new scheme is a scrappage scheme, and that is going to be replacing the EV grant that currently exists. So a scrappage scheme is exactly what it sounds like. They take your old motor off your hands and they crush it, they get rid of it, they destroy the vehicle, and they give you a voucher or an allowance towards a vehicle. In this case, it will be towards an EV vehicle. Back in 2010, there was actually a similar scheme where you could trade in a vehicle older than 10 years old for a £2,000 voucher to purchase a brand new car. And yeah, it worked quite well actually back then. And that was for any car. That wasn't just EVs, that was for any car. Drum roll, please, because this time they are looking at doing a £6,000 incentive towards an EV car. That's quite a lot of money. And in my opinion, it pretty much equals the playing field between EVs and their petrol counterparts completely. It completely levels the playing field. It would take a Nissan Leaf from 26 to 27,000 down into the 20,000-ish mark, which is getting there with the competitors of an ICE internal combustion engine vehicle, it would take the lower priced Model 3 into the mid 30Ks, which is on a level playing field with a really high spec 3 Series BMW. And it makes the question of purchasing an EV a lot easier. The scheme that's been introduced seems to have taken recent inspiration from a similar scheme that's going on in Germany right now. And that's why a lot of people are speculating that this will happen, because it's not just the UK that are doing it. Germany has obviously a huge auto industry, and they are trying to push it themselves with a similar scrappage scheme. And for that reason, to me, it makes sense that this probably will happen. It is a scrappage scheme, which means that your vehicle that you trade in will most likely be destroyed. And there will also be some rules to this that you have to and a criteria that you have to hit as well. So let's just jump into what those are going to be. And these are speculative rules, but I think these are pretty solid, and this is probably what you'd have to adhere to. Come on, Monster, my emails are open to you. I'm living for a sponsorship from Monster. I'll even create like a shelf in the background that's full of Monsters. I'm alive again. So the car would have to be over 10 years old. And the reason for this is because they want to scrap older vehicles and get older vehicles off the road because they're less efficient, more harmful for the environment, and also have less legs left in them. And it's better to just get them off the road and have newer, more energy efficient vehicles on the road. The next rule, I would say, which is kind of an important one and I think will be a thing, is you would have to have owned the vehicle for a year. Now, they might do 6 months, but I speculate a year. So you'd have to have owned the vehicle for a year, and you'd have to have been paying tax on it for a year, in my guess. The reason for this is because it'd be very easy to go out onto Gumtree or eBay, buy a £100 banger with an MOT and a tax left on it, and do that for the scrappage scheme. And it's going to create a bit of a problem on the secondhand market of people like upping the price of their crap vehicles. And also it would sort of defeat the purpose of it anyway, because the car was just about to die. So yeah, I think owning the vehicle and paying tax on it would be some sort of criteria to how long you've been doing that. That will be important to the scheme, in my opinion. There will be a minimum mileage coverage on electric range. So again, similar to what you've got already, they say you have to be able to cover 70 miles with the car you purchase. I think that will be similar again. And the reason for this is because there are vehicles out there, especially on the Chinese market, that can do maybe 40 or 50 miles on an electric car, and they're like mini EVs. They're what we'd call a micro car. We don't have them very, very much in the UK. Those cars retail for around £10,000 to £12,000 with a £6,000 incentive on top of them. You're talking £5,000 or £6,000. And you could see cars like that flooding the market, which doesn't really help anybody, in my opinion. They're more like quad bikes or golf carts. They're not really actual cars for day-to-day use. So I think there's going to be a minimum mileage on there to stop stuff like that from happening. The next rule, it will be exclusive to four-wheeled vehicles. So the £6,000 grant will be exclusive to four-wheeled vehicles. There are electric motorcycles out there. It will exclude them. There might be a smaller program, maybe £1,000 scrappage scheme towards electric motorbikes, EVs. They might even have something like, they're talking about bicycles as well. Maybe they'll do a bicycle scrappage. I mean, that sounds silly almost, but you know, we're moving towards EVs quite quickly at the moment. So I expect to see a smaller version of in different sectors like motorcycles and maybe electric bikes, who knows. So I think this will be exclusive to electric vehicles. I don't think this will include hybrid vehicles, not anymore. I think if we look online, the government are definitely erring towards getting rid of hybrid cars now, because a lot of car manufacturers, and the government have said this a few times, a lot of car manufacturers are hiding behind the hybrid title, and it helps them pass a lot of the emissions tests and meet regulations, but it's not the same thing. An EV is completely different to a hybrid vehicle, and I think this is something that the government want to step away from, and I think this scheme will be solely for electric vehicles. Just my opinion. They might also do the hydrogen cars, I don't know, but definitely no more combustion hybrids, anything like that. I don't think it's going to happen anymore. And that's why I think this will be an electric vehicle scheme only. There will also be additional aids to this program, I think. So you'll have grants for home charging to help the infrastructure. So people still need chargers. I think the government will help with that. I think there'll be road tax and stuff like that exemptions. There'll be London congestion charge exemptions still, which is fantastic. So there's still going to be help there. And also maybe some kind of 0% interest-free loan kind of thing going off, like what Scotland were doing. And again, there might also be a bigger relief scrappage scheme for companies trading in old vans and stuff like that. There currently is a larger allowance for buying an electric van. You get a larger EV grant for an electric van, and I think they'll probably carry that over for this program as well. So if you're thinking about buying an electric van, maybe it's worth holding off a little bit as well. So just today, as of making this video, there was reports that this grant might not actually happen now. And I disagree with that. And the reason for that is because there was a lot of speculation recently whether Elon was in London. People track his jet, and his jet had gone to London at some point. And I actually think this is what happened. I think he did go to London, and I think he went to meet officials in London. And I think he's discussing a few things. Some of those things that people have speculated on is a UK gigafactory, which would be unbelievable. I don't know if that's what he was there solely to discuss. But I think one of the things he was there to discuss was this scrappage scheme. And it sounds kind of minor, like why would Elon need to be involved? But when you go to a Tesla collection center and to get your car, there is infrastructure involved in trading in a car. So if loads of people started to influx Tesla with bangers and old cars, Tesla need to pay for getting rid of the cars. They need to pay for transport of the vehicles, and all these kinds of things. These logistics need to be discussed, and maybe there was a deal met about these kind of logistics. And I'm not saying that Elon was there just for this, but I definitely think this is something that was discussed. In terms of the UK Gigafactory, I'll probably make another video on that. I don't think there's enough information just yet to sort of speculate on whether there is going to be a factory or not. We can only do this. We can only fingers cross it, because how amazing would it be if that was the case? But, you know, it is what it is right now. Fingers crossed, hey? So if you go onto the website now, on all the Model 3s, suggested deposit is £6,000. So if you go on to the Model 3s, all the Model 3s say £6,000 suggested deposit. Even a fully spec'd performance Model 3 says a £6,000 deposit, which in my opinion gives us a limit that this program will probably be for vehicles 60,000-ish pounds and under. I don't think this will cover the Model S and the Model X, because on the website it says £10,000 suggested deposit on the Model S and the Model X. Now, they still could be covered, but it's just something worth bearing in mind. Very possible that they're not. So I'm pretty sure this is Tesla being ahead of the curve, sorting the website out for when the scheme does come. Tesla knows something we don't know, and that is why they have a £6,000 suggested deposit on there. So to me, this is no coincidence. The meeting that Elon had was probably to talk about logistics of this scheme and the infrastructure around this scheme. And they've already sort of put it up on the website, getting ready for July the 6th for when they sort of release this thing or announce it, I guess. It's also very plausible that if this scheme does come out, that the EV grant, because they're two separate things, the scrappage scheme and the grant are two separate things, there might be a chance to use both. If there is a chance to be able to use the scrappage scheme and the EV grant, and you're thinking about pulling the trigger on a Tesla, you need to pull the trigger. Lord, if they do both at the same time, that is crazy. July the 6th, we find out. But yeah, that would be pretty damn crazy. Am I mad that if this does come out that I've missed a £6,000 grant? Not at all. Anyone who's bought a Model 3, anyone who's bought a Tesla knows that they probably would have bought the car even without the grant. And that's the case for me. I would have bought it without the £3,500. That is for sure. No matter what, I would have bought it. It was just a happy bonus for me. It was just a nice little happy bonus. And the £6,000 one would be a happy bonus too. So my advice to you guys is hang fire. If you have got a diesel or a petrol car, hang fire on selling it up until July the 6th, I think. That's what I'm going to be doing. I've still not sold my old Skoda since buying the Tesla. It's been sat on my driveway. I'm still paying tax on it like a plonker. And but that might prove and bode well for me. It might prove well. So when we get the details on July the 6th, I'm going to sort of make a decision on what to do. I'm really hoping that the program's here for a couple of years and I'm able to buy the Model Y Performance through this program. That's my hope. If I can't do that and it's only a short thing, I might just buy a Model 3 Performance. I'm not too sure. It's a very hard call to make. And yeah. But that's my advice. Now, look, here's the thing. If you own a car that's worth more than £6,000, which people who are thinking about buying a Model 3, you probably do already. You probably already own a car over £6,000. If that is you, I just wouldn't even bother with this program. In fact, I'd probably try and pull the trigger soon and keep the EV grant, the £3,000 EV grant, because eventually with the £6,000 scrappage allowance, the EV grant will probably be gone. So if you're thinking about pulling the trigger and you haven't got an old banger line about to do part of the scrappage scheme, I would also consider buying it soon, because it could happen that the EV grant is phased out favoured over this £6,000 scrappage scheme. Something to think about, some food for thought for you guys who are thinking about buying Teslas. If I was in the position and I had a nice Beamer that was worth 10, 12 grand and I was thinking about buying a Model 3, I would be doing it sooner rather than later. That's just my opinion. And that is because they're not going to keep both schemes around, in my opinion. I don't think they would. And like I said, I mean, all of this is speculation, but it would be annoying to be on the other side, the wrong side of the speculation, personally. That's what I'd say. But it is what it is. You still get a Tesla. I won't worry about it too much. Is £6,000 enough to persuade the average consumer and customer to purchase a Tesla or purchase an EV? Is it enough? Do you think that £6,000 is going to make the world of difference to people? I mean, if you're looking at an EV, your budget has to be around 30k already. So the fact that it's going to bring the Teslas into that 30k bracket and it's going to bring those 30k cars into that 20 to 25k bracket makes a world of difference to people who are actually thinking about buying EVs. Now, it's not going to have everybody buying electric vehicles, but it is going to make them more accessible. And when we get to that 20k mark, it's kind of making it almost accessible to most. It's not everyone, obviously, but to most. 20k for a brand new car, if you've got good finance, 20k is not ridiculous. It's not going to be ridiculous. But yeah, I think 6k is a big deal. It's a big deal. It's going to make a big impact on this whole thing, personally. So if you were considering buying a 3 Series for around 30, 35k, you're really starting to consider buying the Model 3 when it's at the same price point. All you have to do is a little bit of research and think, you know what, the Model 3 looks better, in my opinion. And that's a choice I would make, obviously, because I already made that choice. But there you go. What do you guys think? Do you think it's enough to change people's opinions on it? Do you think it's enough to persuade people to come over and buy an EV? What do you think? Anyway, guys, on that note, if you do think about buying a Tesla, please head into the link in the description. It gets you 1,000 free supercharging miles, and it gets me 1,000 free supercharging miles. Massive shout out, as always, to the guys who have used that code, and that is Michael, Marcel, Lewis, and now Andrew as well. Thank you so much, guys. I really do appreciate the support on the channel. It's been massive. Like I said, if you've not, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification, and like the video. Whoever made it this far, you are wonderful. I had a lot of comments last time. Whoever made it this far, you are wonderful. Thank you so much for watching this far. I can't believe the support we've been getting on the channel. Thank you so much. You are unbelievable. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Okay, who made it this far? Who made it this far? If you made it this far, sorry, I love doing these. Put flamingo in the comments. Put flamingo in the comments. People will wonder what the hell's going off. And anyway, guys, MVPs. Goodbye. Catch you in a bit. For real this time. I'm not going to pop back. Don't worry.